Hey everybody, my name is Dylan. I am the founder of Monster VR, or a virtual reality development house. My goal for the talk today, with the buttons, what's the on? Buttons.
Oh, that's it. All right, keep going. I'll work on it.
Testing. Good? Bad? Indifferent?
Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Alright, I'm just going to be loud, and if they come and grab me and shuffle me about, we'll just pretend there's nobody here. It's like a green suit or something. Get into it.
The arm thing. All right, I'll keep working. Keep going, dude.
So, we're a virtual reality development house, and really I'm going to talk to you about three things today. There's three things you're going to learn. Who is Monster VR, how we get started, just hope it'll inspire some of you guys along the virtual reality path. Two, what is all the hardware in 2017, what's really out there currently that you can get your hands dirty with. And three, what I think are the three ingredients to really you getting involved in virtual reality development. Who here would consider themselves a developer? Raise some hands. Awesome. If you're a web developer, raise your hand. Nice. If you're a game developer, raise your hand. Okay. Video production, social media marketing, biz dev. Okay. Developers. JavaScript? JavaScript. C#. Food. Checking. Fantastic. All right, so we're Monster VR. Got started years ago. Just a crazy, wacky entrepreneur that has a tendency to jump into industries and figure things out by getting my hands dirty. So years ago, I backed a project on Kickstarter called Oculus. Who here has tried out an Oculus headset or a Vive? Okay, cool. It's like a VR crowd in the corner. Dig it. Well, years ago I tried it out, my mind was blown, and decided to get my hands dirty. Not really knowing anything about code back then, really started going to meetup groups that, after reading through the SDK, said that you need to know things like Unity or Unreal to get behind and be able to develop on these platforms. Went to some meetup groups, like VRLA and other groups, and ended up forming my own Orange County VR meetup group. Nexus Point for Developers, where we got our hands dirty from doing hackathons and game jams and content creation weekends. We've done dozens of virtual reality game jams where, if you guys know, I'm assuming you do, a bunch of our nerdy friends get together over the course of 42 to 72 hours, 48 to 72 hours. We make virtual reality applications based on the hardware that is provided. From that, we've done a number of different classes, educations, talks, and even conferences all about this medium. From that community doing through the years, we were able to kind of work with some of the best developers in Orange County, and we formed our virtual reality development house, where we've done augmented reality demos for the medical space and marketing engagements. We've also done multi-user activations for major marketing and alcohol brands, like Reka Vodka, where you climb through all the beautiful parts of Iceland and make a mixed drink and you race it with your friend. And so we really had a lot of fun experimenting and mixing things up in virtual reality. I'm here to really kind of demystify what virtual reality is and just how to get involved. So the lay of the land is really going to go is talk about some of the hardware, talk about some of the opportunities, and talk about how you guys can get involved. All right, so virtual reality industry. These are going to be kind of eyesores, and I'm going to go through them, and then we're just going to kind of go see how you guys feel about it. But what I'm going to do is lay out all the different hardwares based on head inputs, hand inputs, HMDs, wearables, things like that. And really, I just believe that innovation comes from passionate people getting together with their friends, working on the latest and greatest hardware. So here's some HMDs or head-mounted displays. Who here has actually worn a head-mounted display on their head? Raise your hands. Okay, awesome. All that means, for those of you who haven't, is you have a screen on your face. And everywhere you look, whether you rotate up, down, left, right, it's tracked. It tracks your head movement. And because the technology and the processing power has been so heavy, they've been able to achieve a sense of presence. What's presence? Well, they've defined it as, I believe it's 10 milliseconds from motion to photon. So what does that mean? If I turn my head, everything should move in less than 10 milliseconds. If you can achieve that as a developer, then you have what's called presence. So you feel like you're really there. If there's lag, you have a tendency to get VR sickness and throw up, and that's not awesome. So you've been there. Thankfully, the technology's gotten better, so as long as you keep to coding standards and practices, don't have any memory leaks, you should be able to achieve presence. So, various types of HMDs, right? You have augmented reality. Augmented reality is like Pokemon Go. Who here has played Pokemon Go? All right, cool. Augmented reality, you hold up a screen, you're looking through it, you can see reality, and then there's an augmented graphic, some sort of digital representation of the environment, whether it's a Pokemon or a Windows screen or whatever, it's augmented. And these are some of the big players in it. Microsoft's got HoloLens, which is pretty awesome if you haven't tried it. I know Apple's just released a new software development kit as well, and they're planning on having their own HoloLens set up. We're currently working with Mirror Labs. They're from USC, and they're currently working on their own version of an AR headset for Apple. That is some of these guys. By the way, if you guys have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and go through them. I'm just going to touch on these things just to kind of hopefully light some fires in your brains, and we can ask me questions as we go. PC. So there's a couple of flavors of virtual reality and augmented reality. You have the PC base, where you do all the computational power on the PC. And then you have mobile, things like Samsung, Google, Daydream, things like that. You can kind of get away with more heavy applications. With the PC, mobile, you have to be really tight. Some of these big players is Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, Microsoft Fove. Fove is amazing because it does eye tracking. I got to play a game a couple conferences ago with the Fove headset, and it basically does a calibration where you put the headset on, and then everywhere you look, it kind of tracks. And then all of a sudden, I got to be basically Cyclops on top of a giant building, where as these things popped up, little spaceships, I'd look at them, and the ray would cast out and blow them up. And it was pretty quick. Where I looked is where I went. Only after a while, there was a little bit of drift. That was a couple of years ago. That kind of technology, where you're combining visualization of where you're looking along with AIs and being able to understand what that response means to questions, it's going to give you some really powerful abilities to innovate across multiple sectors. Star VR is like a 5K monitor, but all these really are just different types of headset displays that are attached to computers that are doing some of the heavy processing. Some of the big displays, Samsung and some of these other guys, are just some of the big players that are really getting involved in. And honestly, almost everybody's getting involved in VR and AR these days. Some of the big mobile players is the Gear VR versus the Daydream versus Cardboard. Cardboard is like the Pinto of VR. You're going to have the experience, but it's not quite the same as the Corvette.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, there's big players in all these categories. Which one? Because I have a feeling that only one of them is going to succeed more than the other, and it's going to be in one of these categories. And from what I hear, it sounds like mobile is going to be the winner as far as it comes to standard and adapting to the algorithms of it, because it's cheaper, easier for entry, and it already has it can actually track you a little bit as well, but not as well as the PC version. But because the price tag for entry is so much cheaper, everybody's leaning towards mobile. Like, do you have an opinion on which one of these categories you think will be the leader and when it comes to HDs?
Yeah, kind of. So you're talking about Sega versus Nintendo. Who's better? Why better? You guys want to fight over this? Like, it really is. Like, it's that kind of comparison. That I think each one of them, if they get that killer, oh my god, this is so awesome, I totally want to use this thing app, any one of them can kind of make a mark for themselves. For example, Apple's got oodles of money, they're gobbling companies up, so they might be behind, but when they come out with their headset, it's going to be beautiful and elegant and all that fun stuff. So they're going to be a big player. Rift, Oculus is really good at exclusive titles, and so there's some amazing companies that are going on board doing exclusive deals like Disney and other major brands with Oculus. But you have things like Steam and Valve, which is this giant open source community, so you're comparing really like Apple to Linux kind of thing on who's gonna get up there faster. Mobile's great, but you want to talk about engagement. I don't know. Have you tried the mobile experience versus a high-end PC experience? Have you seen the engagement level of?
Yeah, I have an HTC Vive, which the thing is, I have an HTC Vive, but nobody really developing something high level for it because it costs so much to do that, and it also needs to return on that. And so, HTC Vive is only, there's a really small amount of people actually home to us. So there's no incentive to really develop something triple or spend that money when you can count literally how many people have one, so you know what percentage actually costs to buy that.
Yeah, when you first started out in the marketplace years ago, because we were one of the first 5 or 10 multiplayer experiences on the store, it was easy to make a buck because there's nothing out there. But now, to get your application on there, the bar raises. As more time goes on, the bar keeps getting higher and higher for development. There are quite a few companies that have made over $1 million of revenue inside the Steam store with just that application. Can't think of the name, but there's been quite a few. But another thing you could build out to is like PSVR. I think PSVR sold out of 5 million headsets in 3 days, and it ran out of chips and components and all that jazz. And so you can build on in the same type of application. Like we use the Unity game engine. You can build inside there and then port out something like PSVR and make things that are called like asynchronous games. Asynchronous games are where one guy has the headset and then 4 other people, asymmetrical games, and 4 other people have controllers, and then, so you have a headset. So you can build for people like PSVR, and there's a huge marketplace out there.
So, but like those are like everything I've experienced so far is like experiences. I've never really played like a full-fledged like developed game, stuff like maybe on Fall 4. That's like a game of marketplace, so like not a lot. There's not always people buying it.
Sure. I thought maybe something like Rick and Morty VR.
Yeah.
So I mean, so those ones are made by Omni Labs, which is one of the better guys, and so you can really see what's capable of coming in terms of engagement. It's one of those experiences that kind of bring you back. As long as it's all about tying in high-end technology with like this personal, like narrative design thingy that gets you super engaged, and then that kicks you out to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, so it's about combining both those. And right now, it's kind of super new for you developers, but it's just kind of tinkering. They're not combining all the elements you need to really immerse a player. Yeah.
I mean, I took last game I took hours and hours.
Yeah, you're talking about creation apps.
Yeah.
So tilt brush is a thing where you can basically draw and paint in space, and there's various forms of it. But instead of having to learn ZBrush or Maya or any of the other ones, you really can just pick up a paintbrush and just paint. And so you can paint smoke and fire and all these other different types of elements and really be immersed in this world, which is amazing. There's other versions like Google Blocks that allows you to build simplistic designs meant for daydream, rapid applications for developers. So if you download Google Blocks with the Vive, you can make these things and then they can actually port out as objects straight into your game development environment. So there's ways, like VR is making it easier to be able to model and develop. Cool, good, yeah. All right, awesome. So these are some displays. Here's some of the inputs. So there's cameras that look at you, and there's things that track your body and hands and stuff, right? So if you look at some of the companies that are getting acquired, like eye tracking and iPhones and all these other ones, they're really very interested in where the player is looking around and what they're doing, because really the eyes give signals to what you're thinking. So there's a lot of different camera-based inputs, along with Leap Motion that can sensor hand inputs. And then there's different types of controllers. There's hand controllers, Oculus Touches, Sony Moves. There's different forms of things strapped to your hand that tracks your hands with 6 degrees of freedom. You can usually click buttons and interact. But those are some of the different user inputs. And then, so this is like the last page of like iSort and we'll talk some of stuff. But locomotion. One of the big questions about virtual reality, if you have a headset strapped on and you're attached to a cord, is how do you run around a 1,000-foot space when you're in a 10 by 10 square? Well, various people have come up with hardware and software solutions to be able to make this happen. We have things like the Infinity Deck, which basically are treadmills that run this way, and no matter which way you go, you can kind of always run there. Things like the omnidirection, where you're basically in a giant glass bowl that straps to you, and you got to run and kind of, sort of, not really feels normal, but hey, it's a thing. And by the way, I've seen some people do like esports VR tournaments with these things, where you have like omnidirections, and they're playing basically Counter-Strike kind of stuff, and they're just ripped. There's just hours and hours of sprinting on this glass bowl. So vicarious running and exercise is the thing that really propels fitness. Cat VR is this whole SWAT team system that you're being held up, you're in a glass walker, and you can do this stuff. So these are just different types of locomotion. Those are hardware. Some software solutions, people teleport around. That's the industry standard. It doesn't cause sickness. You can also do what they call a strip. You move your hands like this and moves you around. It's kind of fun. Some things that are right around the corner, which is going to make the PC much more awesome, is wireless. So things like the Vive are future-proof. You can pull out the HDMI, slam in a wireless adapter. People like TPcast allow you to do wireless. So you see this guy doing a backflip, grabbing a sword, and stabbing a dude. So that kind of thing, along with like being able to connect multiple lighthouses in one environment, where you'll be able to move an entire place, will make PC VR, much more fun. And then wearables. There's all these different things that people strap into the body as inputs for virtual reality development. So we have things like gloves and myobands that sense your flexing, and there's all these other things you can do. People hook things up to your brain, the EEGs, and all these different types of input. And bring those things in, don't just work inside game and entertainment, but you can do that in the health and the medical and the real estate and all those other fun things. And that's kind of what I want to let you know about is what's out there right now in the marketplace available that you can buy, mix up, make a company name and be like, oh, we innovate. Here's what we do for virtual reality or augmented reality. So that's how you guys can get involved. Really, it's about the people, the community, and that's how I've seen how I've learned and how I've seen a lot of my friends get involved, is they need three things to get there. They need the ability to learn on the latest hardware, the ability to connect with other passionate people, and then a challenge, some sort of fire under your butt. Because I don't know why, but with all my development friends, unless there's a reason, unless something's on fire, we're not going to make anything. We're very lazy by nature. So I really have to have some sort of opportunity. So that's how we started getting into hackathons and game jams. This is one of the examples. Last year, we partnered up with Titmouse Studios. I don't know if you know them. They've done things like Hang the Avatar, Metal Lock Lives, a bunch of other stuff. But we got their twisted artists and our demented developers together for last Halloween, and we made a Hackathon Halloween thing where we had judges that came from Six Flags and 2-Bit Circus and id Software, and we made all these very twisted augmented reality, virtual reality, 360 video applications. If you want, you can go to monstergrab.com and go to the video. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but coming to these hackathons and these places are a great way to connect with people, kind of get a feel for what's currently being developed on in this industry. And what I'm going to share with you at the end is the opportunity to be able to go to one of these. But first, a story about a guy named Aaron. Lead organizer of Orange County VR. I'll tell you a story about Aaron. He showed up to one of our first meetup groups. He was a passionate computer science major. He always wanted to work at Blizzard, right? And so he showed up really not knowing anything about VR development to our first hackathon. Got involved in the education hackathon, took first place. Did a great job making a thing called VR Classroom. From that, he kept showing up to all the different events, getting involved in the community, and building up a portfolio of work. And from that portfolio of work, he got a job as a VR developer because he was able to show up at these hackathons. He got grants and deals from people like Unreal to be able to do more development, and he ultimately got his job at Blizzard from it. And he is not working on VR at Blizzard right now. So it's a great story to see a kid go from, I really don't know anything about this, but I want to get my hands dirty and I'm going to put in some time, to I'm a developer living my dream at the job I want to have. So really, my opportunity for you guys, how to get involved, is I'm going to have a challenge for you, okay? This thing takes action, not just talking about it, not just hoping, not just dreaming, but really getting involved. So I'm involved in this hackathon called Creative Reality Hack. It's put together by a guy from MIT. He ran the world's largest hackathon last year at MIT. They had over 400 people a part of it. They had, I think, close to, I want to say, 70 applications of AR and VR get created from the event. And it was this big thing where everyone in the industry got involved. He's trying to do the same thing out here, and he's partnered up with USC and Fox Innovation Labs. I'm heading the judging section and recruiting judges for that, but I'm also saying to any of the developers who want to get their hands dirty and mess with the latest hardware and software that's out there, there's a great chance to do it. It's November 10th to 13th over at the Fox Innovation Labs, and you can sign up here. And with that being said, if you have any questions for me or anything you want to know about, if you want to get involved or whatever, my name's Dylan. You can email me there, and I hope you had an educational experience. Thank you so much.